Dr. Freedom here with 8 times from Dr. News from in and around the universe that could just drive you psychedelically insane to the point that you might just find reason in the meaning of the year 2020 thus far. It has just been a weird year, coming up. Now, a lot of people are like, where the heck have you been, Dr. Freedom? And I'm like, working, because I had to report back to work, and then we're not even a couple weeks in, and suddenly they walk up, oh yeah, by the way, come in an hour earlier tomorrow. Which you'd think wouldn't happen at a union job, but all I can say is somebody screwed the pooch on our last negotiation on our contract. It's the only thing I can figure out. But you're not here to hear about that. You're here about you're here to hear about Doctor News. See, I used here to hear. Weird, ain't it? But here we go. Let's take a look. Boom, boom. Here we go. First off, as of today, July 8th, 2020. No, June. Let's see. I've already lost a month. June 8th, 2020. Colin Baker has turned 77 years old. And, it's kind of nice, that 60 is still with us. He's still kicking, and he's still not liking his own costume. He never liked it, apparently. Well. BBC Bitesize Daily returns with help from Jodie, Whittaker, and Martin Freeman to educate during lockdown. Now, get ready for this. BBC Bitesize Daily will return to BBC iPlayer, Red Button, and online from Monday, the 8th of June to help school kids between the years of 1 and 10 with their education. The project will encompass almost all subject areas, and better yet, will include some very famous faces along the way. In the first week, Manchester City superstar Sergio Aguero will help with key stage 3 children, and they'll help them to learn Spanish. Now, apparently also, between the 15th and 26th, they'll celebrate Shakespeare Fortnight, and this will be in partnership with the Royal Shakespeare Company. The likes of Martin Freeman and other RSC actors, including Liam Cusack, Ballygill, Natalie Simpson, and Jamie Wilkes will be involved in that. And of course, coming up after that, June 29th. See, I'm losing a month again. Between the 29th of June and 3rd of July, Science Week will be in full force as Doctor Who's Jodie Whittaker talks all things space, while astronaut Helen Sharman will read an extract from her autobiography. There will also be tabletop experiments in partnership with the Science and Industry Museum. So, kind of nice to know, these folks are going out there once again doing the extra mile, to help kids during this time, when they're off school. Like, I don't know about you, but if I had this much time off school when I was a kid, I'd be happier. Okay, now, this is about that little story they put on the Lockdown channel, The Secret of Novice Haim. And apparently, all it involves is, and I'm loving how they're making a big deal out of this. Now listen very closely. Quote, I've heard so many stories about him over the years, says hundreds of faces and forms, the men and women and animals who have taken that name, and yet the one who comes for me is so familiar, this one is mine. So basically they're trying to say that this enters into the canon that the Doctor can change into animals as well. It's like, great. It's like, kind of makes me wonder what the cat's been up to. It's like, he's been kind of funny about his litter box lately. As long as the thing doesn't take off and, wipe out the Sontarans. Okay, so that's what that's all about. Here's an exclusive interview with Segun Akinola on scoring Doctor Who, composing music during lockdown, and much, much more. So if you're interested in what goes on with this, is a nice interview with the composer for the last couple of series. I said, I don't know why there's some people out there having a fit about his music. I think he's been doing a brilliant job so far. All right, and guess what this was? This was a screw-up. Moving forward. The best of days. This is the clip of that new thing that was written by Steve Moffat. The mini-episode features Pearl Mackie as Bill Potts, Matt Lucas as Nardole. It's written to form part of the final Doctor Who Lockdown event, which was supposed to be World Enough of Time and Doctor Falls. Now, this event would have been on the 18th. It would have been the 18th lockdown event. But then, quote, all right, just to make a long story short, a group of people decided they were not going to tune in to watch this particular lockdown event because Bill Potts gets shot at the beginning and she's black. Now, folks, I can understand what's going on out there in the world, but when we start, I don't see how it correlates. It was very sad what happened to George Floyd, but he was killed by a gangle of morons, who held him down to the point he couldn't breathe. He was not shot. Yet apparently some people got offended by the fact. And the worst thing is, yes, Bill Potts is shot. Yes, Bill Potts is injured, but she doesn't die. Matter of fact, it's kind of like a hero's journey for her, which she comes out on the end, stronger. So I don't know what the deal was, but apparently, yeah, that's what happened. And they ended up doing another couple episodes with someone else hosting it. I just don't get it. Call me crazy. All right, the Big Finish warehouse to reopen. All right, Big Finish have announced they are to recommence shipping of collector's edition CDs and box sets to clear the backlog of pending orders and amid the coronavirus epidemic. As of Monday, 8th of June, the Big Finish staff will be returning to work on a split shift basis. The company has taken steps to ensure the production of its warehouse workers, including providing safety equipment and a regular schedule of deep cleaning, which will allow the introduction of a one-person-per-day rotation pattern for the upcoming weeks. And then Jason Hagelery comments and all that. So, kind of nice to hear, things are starting to get back on track on there. Fish Fingers and Custard. The new edition of the fan publication is now available. Issue 18 is the first issue in 4 years and can be downloaded as a free PDF here if you are interested. And here's the stuff that's included in this issue. Now, as I said before, I can understand, that we've got a really weird situation going on out there. But it's getting to the point now that you can't show certain things on television because, and like I said, I don't see how it even correlates. Forgive me. Because there's no police involved in this episode, for one. It was a fictional alien shooting a fictional character who doesn't die, but ends up coming out of the other end of the adventure as a stronger character with a whole new purpose. If you want to look at it, they're kind of like a hero's journey deal. So why this asinine attempt to hijack it was done, I do not know. It's not my business. But they went off and watched another episode anyway. Also, apparently, Stephen Moffat has now declared his Twitter account he was using for these things closed. So the ones they did show are apparently going to be the final ones he's involved in as far as we know. But it just upset me that, now we're offended by everything. Like Elmer Fudd's not allowed to have a gun on Warner Brothers. And I'm like, wow, that's going to decrease gun violence by taking a cartoon character's gun away. I give up, folks. I really do. I'm not kidding. It's like, before we know it, we're going to be watching blank screens because that way it won't offend somebody. It's just a crazy world we live in. So please, everyone, please take care. Watch out for yourselves. Be very careful out there in the world. It's not a perfect world, but guess what? We have to live in it. So try to do the best you can out there and have a good night.